Hello, my name is Thomas Čerko-Wanger. I'm the initiator and core team chair of the Global Agroforestry Network initiative. And while I'm giving this presentation here today, I would like to fully acknowledge all the contributors and all the individuals that make this wonderful network possible. So I want to introduce you to the Global Agroforestry Network initiative and all the opportunities that it provides for cocoa, coffee, and rubber agroforestry research. The United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restoration is an important initiative by the United Nations Environmental Programme and the Food and Agriculture Organization. It is aiming to restore the planet's degraded aquatic and terrestrial ecosystems. So for instance, if by 2030 we would be able to restore 350 million hectares of terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems, that could remove about 13 to 26 gigatons of greenhouse gases from the atmosphere, and it could also generate about $9 trillion in return of ecosystem services. The United Nations has also specified 8 key target areas for restoration, and one of them is farmlands. So we want to focus more on agroforestry systems within these farmlands for key targets for restoration. Agroforests, so that means the deliberate inclusion of trees into farming systems of, for example, cocoa, coffee, and rubber, have been shown to provide various benefits. So for example, carbon sequestration potential of agroforestry systems is enhanced as opposed to monocultures. We've also seen significant biodiversity benefits of agroforestry systems compared to monocultures, which then also translates into ecosystem service benefits. So for example, biological pest control potential is higher. We see benefits in terms of pollination in agroforestry systems. But we also see that agroforestry systems oftentimes provide diversified incomes for smallholder farmers, and therefore an insurance mechanism against global commodity price volatilities. While we know a fair big deal about agroforestry systems, important research gaps prevail. And one of the key research gaps, I would say, is that we still need to integrate better all the knowledge that we have from different continents, and then try to understand this global variability that we see in the benefits and also the disadvantages of agroforestry systems. The Global Agroforestry Network initiative is trying to do exactly that, to understand that global variability of effects that have been shown in different parts of the world. So we are a multi-stakeholder research platform that is looking into important questions for cocoa, coffee, and rubber agroforestry systems. So we've been very fortunate to have some of the leading researchers of agroforestry systems on our team. And what I would like to do next is to introduce you to 3 projects that we have been able to start already. Our first project is looking at pollination of cocoa globally and the effects on the environment and smallholders. Previous research has shown that cocoa is pollination limited and that manual pollination can actually increase crop yields by 160%. So that's important for the transition from cocoa monocultures to agroforestry systems to compensate for potential yield gaps. But it is also interesting for smallholder farmers because of the income benefits. We're looking at this work in sites in Brazil, in Cameroon, Ghana, and Indonesia, and we're employing new monitoring technologies to get high resolution information on these pollinators. So hopefully this will yield new information on pollinator ecology, but also in how we can manage agroforestry systems to maintain pollinators in these systems and enhance the benefits for human well-being. We've done quite a bit of outreach to communicate these results to the public, and we've also talked and engaged with the industry about this work. The project is coordinated by Dr. Manuel Toledo Hernandez, and you will hear more about this in, I think, the next talk. Our second project is about rubber agroforestry and the benefits that these systems can provide for the environment, socially, but also in economic terms. Rubber is primarily produced in monocultures in Southeast Asia, and up to date, a synthesis report on the benefits of rubber agroforestry compared to monocultures was not available. So we set out to provide this first rubber agroforestry report and discuss feasibilities at scale and look into the barriers that need to be overcome, for example, for smallholder farmers and the industry. We've also done quite a bit of outreach activity and talked to industry associations to facilitate uptake of that work, and we will of course continue to do so. This work is led by Eleanor Warren Thomas, and you will hear more about that as well in a subsequent talk. The third project I would like to introduce to you is on the global restoration potential of cocoa and coffee agroforestry. What we are doing here is building a database of cocoa and coffee agroforestry systems globally, so in Latin America, in Africa, and also in Asia, and then using these sites in a machine learning and spatially explicit forecasting approach together with Tom Crowther's lab at ETH Zurich to determine the potential of these agroforestry systems for global ecosystem restoration potential. Now, in the past, such approaches have been trialed, but the problem has always been the great similarity between forests and agroforestry systems. While we can certainly not exclude that this will also be a problem in this approach, we're just trying to overcome or tackle that problem with a very large training data set. So we're trying to maximize the number of sites that we can use in this machine learning approach to do the forecasting. So this project is coordinated by myself, but of course it's built on collaborations with many people, and we're very happy to invite collaborations to make that happen. So if you have sites available, please do get in touch. The Global Agroforestry Network is in essence a collaborative endeavor where we're trying to advance the knowledge of agroforestry systems in cocoa, coffee, and rubber. So if you work on agroforestry systems in any of these three commodities, it would be fantastic if you can consider collaborating with us. I already mentioned one avenue that we could collaborate with the Global Agroforestry Network, and that is if you have a map of your agroforestry sites available and you would be keen to share that with us, that would be immensely helpful for the cocoa and coffee mapping approach that I introduced in the previous slide. And of course, that would then facilitate the co-authorship on the global mapping publications that result from that initiative. Another avenue could be to help define cocoa and coffee agroforestry systems. This is also something that I have not mentioned, but that's something we're very interested in. And in general, if you have project ideas that you think are important to do in rubber, cocoa, or coffee agroforestry systems, it would be fantastic, not just for me, but all the colleagues in the GAN to hear from you, and potentially we can then work something out. I would like to thank you for listening to the talk, and also I would like to thank the collaborators that have made the Global Agroforestry Network possible and pushed it to where we are now. If you want, please do feel free to get in touch, check out our website, and enjoy the upcoming talks.